What is up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then it's just welcome to my channel. And now welcome back. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you will not be disappointed. Unless, of course, your taste level is lacking because it ain't me, okay? Y'all, let me tell y'all about Charles and niece before we get into today's case. As if I need this right now, Bella tried to die. This store, Hollywood Feed, highly recommend this store. I try to make their snacks in my dehydrator as often as possible, but life be life and sometimes, so I'll order snacks from Hollywood Feed. They have a huge selection of natural dog treats, cat treats, all of the things, right? So place the order, and I order at least once a month from them. I feel like the same lady makes my deliveries, and she always leaves me a little Bible verse on it, and I'm such a heathen, baby. Every single time I gotta go to the internet and find out what the verse means. It's always something cute, something sweet, something motivational. So I get their package. They know the drill. Okay, they get excited. I give them something to chew to get out of my face, like I have to film this video, and you probably can hear Bella. I hope not. I hope the mic is not picking it up. She is in the corner going to town. Anyway, she's going to town the other night. All of a sudden, I hear a little hack, a little cough, if you will. I look over. She is on the carpet. It looked like coughing, but she was choking. Okay, there was something lodged in her throat. Now, lucky for us, maybe a blessing, if you will, about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I randomly was just like, how do you give the dog the Heimlich maneuver? So I looked it up on TikTok and watched a couple of videos, enough to where I felt like I probably could do it if given the situation. Fast forward to the other night, now I'm in the situation. But I'm panicking because I still don't feel like I can do it right. Like, I've not had to do it before. I'm trying to remember what they did in the video. I remember like the chest placement where you apply the pressure. Chill. I get to giving this girl the Heimlich maneuver, panicking because I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure that I'm doing it right. Like, what if I'm not doing it right? She's gonna die. And then whatever it was falls out of her little mouth onto the carpet, and I put her down. I breathe a sigh of relief, and I'm just like, thank God. By the time I open my little eyes up, girl, and get that D right off the tip of my tongue, she had picked up the piece again. Like, what are you doing? I grab her, pry her little jaws open, put my little finger there and swipe her tongue to grab it and save her life. Again, Josh, you had me stressed out. Had me all on the internet, on Instagram, asking people how you order cigarettes, okay? All I know about is Virginia Slims. So yeah, Bella is still with us, barely, like literally by the skin of her teeth. Really quick, for those who are interested in what I'm reading, I think the last book I spoke on was The One by John Mars. Since then, I've read Tender is the Flesh, about a society where all animals have to be eradicated because a virus breaks out, and then when that happens, it's literally only humans left on earth. And let me tell y'all, somebody was like, oh no, I ain't gotta read the book because you tell so many details. Baby, I can tell you're not a reader if you think the little details that I tell are a whole book. This is not a spoiler. It's called a synopsis. So there's that. Like I was saying, it's only humans left. For a while, everybody is like a vegan, not by choice, of course. And a couple of doctors come out and they're like, we need more protein than these plants can give. We need protein from meat. So then cannibalism is legalized, and humans are bred and farmed the same way animals are today for meat. All of this has already happened at the start of the book. Okay, they drop you right in the middle of the thick of it, and it's very brutal. Like, literally from the first chapter, my stomach was hurting. Okay, I enjoyed the read. Like I said, it is kind of brutal. If you got a weak stomach, I don't recommend it for you. And if they made it into a movie, I honestly would not even watch it. But I like the book. After Tender is the Flesh, I read Hidden Pictures. This was a TikTok recommendation. Child, Stephen King loved it, as you can see right here. I really feel like I could see young adults eating this up and thinking that it's just a great book. It is a good book. Got some cool pictures in here. Child, it's about a family who has hired a nanny for their 5-year-old son, and he has an imaginary friend that he draws pictures of. And child, this the imaginary friend. Somebody like me, I'm quitting the same day. So that was really good. And now I'm reading When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. I just started last night, so I'm only like 6 chapters in, but I love it so far. Depending on where it goes, this might be one of my favorites I've read this year. She is already in the running, just that far in, baby. I'm really enjoying it. Child, I'm so wretched. I need to purchase some bookmarks, because look at these. It's really the top that I tore off a bag of chocolates that I was eating while I was reading. And that is it for the books. I really love that so many of you enjoyed the garden vlog Sunday. It will be another one this Sunday. I enjoy making it as well. I enjoy showing y'all how my babies help me out when they're not giving me a heart attack. And yeah, so if you enjoyed that, look out for that. I got some good updates and some bad updates, y'all. Some things going on out there. Without further ado, I'm going to get into today's video, which is the subject of Alex Cooper. Y'all, this is a wild ride. I don't think it's gonna be that long, but I really want to know what y'all think about this. Like, it's really crazy. Let's get into it. In 1950, 28-year-old Alex Cooper meets a young woman by the name of Margaret and is completely enamored by her. Within 2 years, they are married and things are going great between them. They still enjoy each other's company as much as they did when they first met. Rarely do they argue or disagree. They settled down in Cranbrook, British Columbia, and live a pretty average life over the years. When I say a very vanilla couple, they have 5 children together. Alex is the primary breadwinner. He owns and operates his very own cleaning business, which performs very well. They don't have any major financial hiccups over the years, and Margaret is able to be a stay-at-home homemaker, which when you have 5 kids and a husband, that is a full-time job plus overtime. So she was busy too, make no mistake. Then in 1986, the now 64-year-old Alex decides that he wants to change gears. He wants to put an end to the cleaning business and do something new. He goes to work as a sales agent. By now, of course, all 5 of their children have grown up. They moved out of the house. Some of them have had children and started families of their own. This is a big change for Margaret. Imagine she spent so much of her life raising a house full of kids and having her husband at home to now essentially having an empty nest and her husband having to travel a lot for work. It is a major adjustment to make for her, but when Alex is at home, he does make sure that they have family time, enjoying some of the things that he likes to do, like, you know, fishing, camping. He's an outdoorsy kind of guy. Family time is important to him too. So they do get it in and all is well. At least that's what it's looking like and feeling like. April 3rd of 1987, Alex sets off on yet another business trip, and nothing is out of the norm about this day. He sets off on his trip just as he had any other. Now, the following morning, one of his daughters, Layla, she is in the car with her husband. They are headed to do some shopping when something catches her eye and immediately halts their trip. Near the Mitchell Hotel in Sparkwood, just alongside the road, parked is her father, Alex's car. Immediately they pull up to it because they are not sure if he's, you know, gotten a flat or run out of gas, but he is not inside of the car. He is nowhere to be found, actually. The doors are locked, but Layla can see his fishing gear inside of the car, and there is a creek nearby. So her hope is that he just parked there and decided to walk down to the creek and do a little bit of fishing. They go down to their area and he is not there either. She is, of course, very worried, and so is Margaret to hear this after she had seen Alex off the previous morning for a business trip. Now, adding to their worry is the fact that Alex has a heart condition. He has heart medication that he has to take, and their fear is that he possibly had a medical emergency. Maybe he's been hauled away to one of the hospitals. So at this point, they call all of the local hospitals, and they even call the police stations as well to see if a call had come in about a man his age named Alex Cooper that had some sort of medical emergency. There is no record of anything with the local police station, and he is not in any of the hospitals. Alex is reported missing. They get into his car and see that all of his personal belongings are still in there. The fishing gear, like I mentioned before, his ID, his heart medication is in the car as well. All of his important things that they figured one would take. But for some reason, Alex has left all of these things behind. Police conduct a search of the entire area using dogs, they use helicopters, and they find nothing. Alex Cooper has seemingly disappeared without a single trace left behind. So at this point, they try to trace his steps, see what he did last, and they find out that he had eaten breakfast at a diner the day before that is not far from where his car is parked. And finding this out, Margaret's fear is that her husband has been the target of a crime. Alex is very well known around the community community, a lot of people knowing him as being this business owner, this great businessman that has always taken great care of his family. He also has this habit of carrying around large amounts of cash in his pocket. He didn't carry it in a wallet. He just had a big wad of cash that he would either roll up or fold over and secure with a rubber band. So every time he was out somewhere and had to pay for something, he would have to take all of this money out of his pocket and separate what the total was, with everyone around him able to see that he got all this money. She is thinking, and as well as some of the officers, that he probably had breakfast at this diner paid like he usually does, and the wrong somebody was paying attention. And the working theory becomes that they'd seen this, they have probably asked him for a ride, and being this nice, charitable man that he is, he would have said yes, not knowing or realizing that this person had ill intentions. And then at some point during the ride, the person had robbed him, hurt him, done something with the body, and then abandoned his car. It's been a solid 24 hours since anyone has heard from him, since he left home. So there was enough time for all of this to have occurred. Now, his daughter Layla has a very different theory though. She believes that her father probably had a heart attack down by the river and had fallen in. A team is sent into the water to search for him, but they too come up empty-handed, and they appeal to the public to try to see if anyone had seen him or had any information about his whereabouts, hoping that somebody will come forward with something. Like I said, this man is a very well-known, very respected member of the community. A lot of them know him from personally doing business with his cleaning company, and he's very well liked. So if somebody saw something happen to Alex, they surely would have come forward and said something. There are calls that come in saying that they believe that they saw him here or there, but none of the leads that they got turned into anything. It is like this man literally just vanished into thin air. Layla still had her belief about what happened to her father, and Margaret still has hers. Everyone else pretty much falls between the two. And regardless of what they believe happened to Alex, everybody pretty much mutually agrees that it wasn't good and he likely was no longer alive. As a family, they choose to move forward accordingly, accepting the fact that they may never know what happened to Alex or why. 2 years after he disappeared, Margaret goes down to the courthouse to finally have him legally declared deceased. And in order to do this, she needs a copy of his birth certificate, which she realizes that she does not have. She returns home, she looks all over the house for it, where they keep all of the children's and their own official documents. There is no sign of any of her husband's birth certificate, social security card, none of it, right? And she figures, no problem, I'll just get a copy. But just as there is no physical copy of any of the things, there is no record of anyone by his name being born on the date of his birthday. There appears to be no record of him prior to marrying her in 1952. It's like his life had begun there and she just could not make sense of it. Like, either I don't know his real name or I don't know his real birthday. Either way, I've been married to a man for all of these years that I might not actually know. And with this, a new working theory emerges. Maybe Alex had gone off and disappeared on his own accord, which is something that Margaret and the children just could not understand because things were good. Like, there was no apparent reason for him to want to up and disappear on them. So at this point, they're a little mad. May 27th of 1991, now 4 years after Alex has disappeared, still without a trace, a missing persons report is filed in Toronto, Canada for a David Cooper. And this David Cooper is 69 years old. He lives all by himself in a small apartment and has not been seen for several days. Neither his friend nor his landlord have been able to reach him, and they have both grown concerned. Now, police go into his little apartment to look around, to investigate, and they find a photo of him, this photo here, holding a child. After a bit more digging and investigating, they realize that he has an uncanny resemblance to missing person Alex Cooper, who also would be the same age. They send the photo over to Alex Cooper's wife, Margaret, to see if she recognizes it or if she believes this to be her husband. And sure enough, it is. The photo had been taken in 1985 after they had welcomed his baby, which is one of their grandchildren. David Cooper, who has now gone missing in 1991, is Alex Cooper, who had gone missing 4 years prior. 2 days after it is confirmed that Alex Cooper is David Cooper, he returns back to the apartment. He sees that somebody has been inside of it, going through his things. So immediately he goes to his landlord and reports it, also asking questions about what she may have known or seen. She tells him that he had been reported missing. Nobody knew where he was. A friend was concerned. The police came out and that he needed to give them a call. Now, this time around, he had not disappeared. He had no intentions actually of running away from this new life. This is the life and the identity that he was ready to ride out to the finish line. He is 69. He had just gone off for a little bit, to take a little mini vacay by himself, decided to unplug, which is why nobody could reach him, only to come home and find out that he has been reported missing. And he is afraid that the police have now connected him to not only his previous life as Alex Cooper, but the life that he lived before that. And he is not about to stick around to wait on the confirmation of his fears. So when police returned to his apartment the following day, Alex, David, child, everybody that he is, have disappeared again. At this point, it's very apparent that he is intentionally trying to hide, which is very weird to them. And because it's such a peculiar thing, a lot of journalists take interest in this case. They begin writing about it. It gets media attention. 4 months later, in September, he is featured on an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Again, there have been numerous calls and tips reporting sightings of him, none of which have panned out. They have still been unable to catch up with this man. You would have thought somebody was trying to put him on child support. Finally, though, one call comes in from a 43-year-old man that claims to have known Alex and says that Alex lives about 43 miles from Toronto. And on January 10th of 1992, police finally are able to locate this mystery man. When they find him, he doesn't put up a fight. He goes he's 69, child. He wasn't gonna do too much. He goes right down to the station with them, with the family that he had abandoned 5 years ago, patiently waiting on the answer to just one question, which is why? Because at this point, they know they've been abandoned. But first, police want to know his true identity and what it is that he's been running from. His real name is Albin Arsenal, and he had not just changed his name because of how awful it is. In 1948, just 2 years before he had met Margaret, the office where he had worked at the time had been robbed of a couple $100s. And he was a person of interest, as were several other employees. After being questioned, afraid of being arrested for a crime that he had not committed, he opts to completely change his identity, his name, run away and start a whole new life. He becomes Alexander David Cooper, which is the name of an old friend of his brother that he really liked. He liked the name. And once he just chose this new name, he hitchhiked west for his new beginnings. And he had managed to get by all this time without any legitimate legal documentation, proof of identity. I could see how that happened if he was putting all the things in Margaret's name. He was living his new life like it was golden, and he was very happy until age 65 when he needed to submit his birth certificate to collect his pension. When it was requested, he hadn't looked to see if there was anything else, he could have provided instead. He figured that, of course, they will want something official. He thought about not collecting it and just leaving it, but he felt like that would be a red flag. Of course, eventually he and Margaret would need the money. She would question why he wasn't collecting his pension, and he doubted that Margaret would be the only one looking into the reason why, especially since he had inquired about it and just never followed up. It was definitely giving a red flag. He panicked and decided that he would have to do what he had done before: pack up and start a new life. He considers coming clean to his family, but decides against that. He was just really embarrassed. And there's also this fear that he would still be wrongfully arrested for a crime that he had not committed back in 1948. Unbeknownst to him, he had long been cleared of any suspicion regarding that crime. They were not looking for him. There was no arrest warrant for him. When the police hear his explanation, they kind of feel bad for him. Like, he was genuinely afraid. 2 days after he is questioned by police and they get all of these answers, Alex is reunited with his family in British Columbia. And while they were glad that he was still alive, a lot of other and unpleasant feelings came along with the fact that he had just decided to up and walk out of their lives and just start a new one, regardless of the reason. He explains to them that it was not an easy decision. It was a very difficult one to make. It wasn't like he ran off with some lady and was enjoying enjoying his new life. He was very lonely. He describes the time spent without them as agonizing. He definitely considered all the feelings that they may have had about him disappearing, and every day he thought about them and the grandkids and how they were doing. He said that he even picked up the phone 2 years prior and called Layla's phone one morning, but he hung up before she could answer because he just couldn't bring himself to go through with a call and explain to her the entire situation. Compounded with him having to explain to them that he had not disappeared, that he had literally walked away from them, is the possibility that they would think that he was a thief back in the day in 1948. And with all of this together, it was just too much for him, and he could not bring himself to face them. He had found himself a little job that he worked and kept his head down, and outside of working was rotting away in his little one-bedroom apartment. He says, quote, "While I was away, I just worked around the clock because I dreaded to go home to my room. Loneliness is an awful feeling." Y'all, I feel bad for him. I'm not gonna lie, and apparently his wife did too, because Margaret took him back. Here she is smiling with her man. What he needed from her was understanding, and she gave him that. She welcomed her husband back home with open arms, and over time, everyone else came to forgive him as well. His daughter Layla, who was 28 at the time of his disappearance and 33 when he reemerged, said that she idolized her father until he vanished, and said, quote, "The man that left 5 years ago is different than the man today in our eyes. He's not perfect like we thought he was. I love him and my mom does too, but there's a lot of things that we're gonna have to work out." She went on to say he is feeling very remorseful. He consumes himself with guilt, and he's got to get over that. You can't expect somebody to forgive you until you forgive yourself. So that was her whole take on the situation. Margaret and Alex slash David Child slash Alvin, I wonder what they called him after he returned home. I would just roll with Alex. That's how you know me for all of this time. As a couple, they have 5 more years together before Margaret unfortunately passes away in 1996. He himself lived to be 85 years old. He passed away in 2007. So his children and grandchildren got a total of 14 more years with him that they had not counted on. And after he had returned home, initially he had been charged with public mischief for his little stunt, but the charges had later been dropped once everything was revealed and he explained himself. A lot of people just felt bad for the man. Like, it was a sad situation. Did he jump the gun? Did he overreact? Yes. Did he deserve to live out the rest of his days alone in a small room, missing his family? No. Yeah, but he chose that for himself. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below. I feel for the man, and I'm very interested to know what your thoughts are. Please comment them down below. I will be reading them and responding. Like the video, please, if you have not. Share this video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Remember, I'll be back Sunday with another garden vlog. I realized that a lot of y'all have not experienced anything outside of my true crime content, and that is so funny to me. As always, I appreciate you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace. Then it's just welcome to my channel, and now welcome back. Go ahead. What? It's too early, baby. Not right through the gate. Go ahead. If this is, let me just start all the way up. If this is your, what do I say? And that is it for the video. Not the videos. Girl, my goodness. Get together. Without further ado, I'm going to get into today's video, which is then in 1960, not 66. So now with Alex having the sales job, he is Bella, get off the camera. Y'all both gonna come say hi? Hi. I gotta tell the girls and guys what's going on in the world. Please give me a second. She is very worried. Okay, girl, not the voice. Cracking up. Ooh. The little apple cider vinegar. Donde es mi blush? In 1948, when he was just 28 years old, he was 26. And Margaret, girl with a W, can I not speak? To come,